You're listening to the New Old Heads podcast, shot live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/newoldheads and released every Thursday at noon via bringingdowntheband.com. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You are now tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. The entire crew is here, starting off with my man Lonegevity. How are you, sir?
Hello. Doing all right. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
All righty. Jay Moore, my man Jay Moore. How are you, sir?
Blessed and highly vaccinated. You know the vibes.
Okay.
Yep.
He was pretty popular this past.
Oh, you had a busy weekend.
Yeah,
it was
man.
crazy.
We gonna pray for you though. My man DJ Jay Diff. What's happening, man?
Salutations.
I see Red August brought this to my attention, man. You got a real New Jack City type situation going on right now. It's fresh though.
Thank you.
All right.
If you see them two dogs downstairs,
Yeah.
just know that I'm upstairs going
So would you
in.
rather be Nino or the Dutter Man?
I mean, what kind of question is that?
I was just asking.
Would you
Yes,
rather
sir.
be Nino Brown or the Nunna Man?
I'm just saying.
Come
man.
on, man.
That was a very important role, Jay Moore, correct? The Dutter Man was important.
I mean, yeah, shout out to
But we're
Bill
talking
Nunn.
about we're talking about the
no,
question.
Bill
though, right?
Nunn.
Yeah.
Bill
Nunn.
Duke
Bill
is
Nunn.
the
I said
director-
Bill
is the
Duke.
director. Bill Nunn.
I got it.
Rest in peace to him. Yeah.
Yes,
Indeed,
yes.
indeed.
All right, man. Shout out to the chat. The chat is alive and well. They have already started. We appreciate you. My man Red August is in the building doing what he does on on-site production. Appreciate you, brother. So
Indeed, indeed.
let's go ahead and jump right in on these topics. Dramatic pause. So 2022, obviously, we've been around a lot and we've watched the evolution of hip hop from our standpoint. How it's grown and how it's grown online and expansion, and we talk about evolution all the time. I actually saw a conversation about aspiring artists,
Right.
and the topic and the question that came up was, what would you tell an aspiring artist now, heading into this game, the way the game is currently established and how things move? Because it's completely different from, when we were in our 20s. Right, it's the total opposite of that now. Even 30s, early 30s, late 20s, the 30s, like it's changed since then. So, Lone, I'll come to you first. What do you think? What are some of the things that you would share to an aspiring artist to help them get out the gate, if you will?
There's two things you need to master,
What's that?
and some people already know this because I talk about this. I even tweeted Fonte about it last night.
Yes.
Based upon something he was tweeting. You have to master two things if you want to be an artist these days. And by an artist, I mean somebody who wants to put out music, who wants to grow a following, who wants
Right.
to make money off of that as well, wants to all the encompassing things. If you just want to play bass in your basement, play bass in your basement. You want to put out songs for your homies, put out songs for your homies. But if you want to grow into something to be bigger than where you are right now, you have to master one, your music. Obviously, right? You have to be really, really good at whatever you make. Whatever that is, which means you got to put in the work. You got to be original. You've got to find your sound. You got to be able to work all the things that we've always had to do from the inception of creativity or whatever. You have to be really good at whatever you are.
Let me push back and ask you this.
Can I finish third?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to lose my train of thought, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
And my only devil's advocate would be, is creativity and is originality as important now as it would have been 15, 20 years ago?
If you want to sustain and you want longevity, yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can put out something quick and then you can disappear. But if you want to actually be an artist and sustain yourself in the long term, you have to have something that can still grab on to people. If you just sound like everybody else, then yeah, you just like everything. Yeah, you can have your moment, but what's gonna bring people to come back to you? Like,
I wish that I could have that moment for life.
Well,
He said, well,
there we are.
I can dig that. I respect
So
that.
that's the first half. The other half, which is to me is the most important part, and I say the most important part is because most people don't do it and don't look at it in the sense of it being important for artistry, because most artists don't want to do it, is you have to master your content. So again, I've said this on the show before. No matter how good your music is, your content has to be just as good. Otherwise, it's going to fall on deaf ears because there's just too many people doing it. There's just too many people making music. You want to put out great music. I mean, look, I feel like I put out good music in the past and did a really poor job of putting the content together to get to people. And I know a lot of people who have done that. And sometimes we just don't put the effort into it. This isn't something new, but I feel like nowadays in 2022, it's super necessary to create something like it. And it's not just music; it's all creative platforms. If we didn't have places for you to hear us on all the different social media platforms, and we didn't spend so much time in making it look a specific way and having a full production, all this stuff, you guys would be like, oh, these are just 4 guys in a basement somewhere or something, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's like we have to put it just as much time into that as building the thing that we talk about and having the value. So that's what I would say. I know it's kind of a long thing, but I think if you're a new artist, yeah. Number 1, put your hours in. Number 2, you've got to be able to have great content, because content allows you the ability to do everything else. It allows you to network. It allows you to, people are going to look at you and be like, oh, this person is serious. This person takes what they do. They're going to look at you in a specific type of way. So that's mine.
I can dig that. Jay Moore, what would your suggestions be to aspiring artists coming out in this era?
Well, I think Lone covered what it is artistically that you need to have on point. This is the thing.
Anything else?
Def Jam is not going to come and think that you're talented and then try to nurture your talent. All right. You all, if one of these companies decide that they want to do business with you, it's because you've already got something that they feel like they can monetize. And a lot of times you got to know your price. There are too many people who would rather be famous than rich. You know, they will take whatever they get just so they can get on TV and be in an award show and take a few pictures next to somebody. And then it's 2 years in and they're like, oh, maybe I should have read my contract.
Yeah.
You know, I just want
still happening.
Yeah, it's still happening. You know, there are people like, if they go through their contracts, they'll be like, well, wait a minute. What is this for pressing and distribution that all my stuff is on streaming?
Right.
And like, they come to find out they're still being charged for jewel cases and broken goods. And because this is how the record companies stay in business and keep the artists broke so they can keep them creating content. It's a nasty, nasty game. And you have to be on top of it, or else you're going to get sucked in by the trappings of fame and wealth, and not actually, and you can be famous, but you won't actually be wealthy for all the work that you've put in, and all the, because you don't get paid for, you know, being on TV. A lot of times you have to pay to be on TV. You don't get paid to go to these parties. You know, you don't. I think that, like I said, there are so many people who just want to be seen, and you know, they're not. You got to look at the paperwork. This is how, you know, the rich stay rich and the poor stay famous.
Yeah.
I would just say, you know, because there are some artists where you're like, oh man, how are they getting all this? Like, and come to find out, like, everything that is some sort of show of wealth is actually a recoupable expense. So, you know, and I would say to all these artists, if you're already popping, stay independent as long as you can. And if you stay independent, the longer you stay independent, the more you can ask for when these labels want to. You should want them to partner with you, not sign with you.
That's one of the ones.
Or you sign with them. You partner
can dictate
with them.
it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Jay Diff, talk to me, man. Is there anything else that was left on the table, or you pretty much agree across the board?
I agree with everything everybody said. You also need to pick the right side, whether you want to ride with Lil Durk or NBA YoungBoy. So you got to be able to pick the right side of that. And then you'll do just fine.
I like that.
But now, for real, I would say I feel like we've had this conversation many times, and I'll just say the same thing I said last time we had it. You have to invest in yourself, because nobody's going to invest in you if you're not investing in yourself. So I always allot a budget just for that. You know what I'm
Good
saying?
word.
To make sure that you are just not staying stagnant with where you're at and how you look as far as pushing out your sound and your image online, because that unfortunately that is important factor nowadays, how you play out online. So you have to invest in all of that before you think somebody else is going to invest in you.
Yep.
I can I think everybody's made good points. I think networking is I think that's a big one too, being able to make connections and value those and grow them, nurture relationships.
Definitely.
In the midst of all the stuff that we've talked about. Because the one thing I've learned the hard way is you never know who you might need later. You might bump elbows with somebody, meet somebody at a music festival 3 or 4 years ago. And it might turn into a person that ends up playing on a record that you might need, that you know, doing something that you can't do because you cultivated a relationship and built that.
Yeah.
Those things pay dividends later for your art, your music, the craft.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like being able to move around in those rooms and not being scared. Like there's no, you know, standing in the corner, being passive, being aggressive about meeting people, presenting yourself properly and just making connections, work in the room, because you never know who's around and who you might need. And that, I think that's to me, that's one of the mistakes I made. I was a little too passive in certain situations where I should have been more vocal, where I should have been talking and asking questions and getting emails and getting connections. That stuff is going to come back. You know,
Well, also, you got to be able to take advice,
yeah.
you know, from people who are in a position to give it to you. You know, someone who's already made it to where you're trying to get, or someone who's just trying to, you know, pull you to the side and say, hey, man, this is the way to do things. Like, I still get those people, you know, in the clubs I work in who are like, hey, I got my CD, you know, could you play my song?
That's where you messed up, right?
Man,
there.
Okay,
ain't
first,
that
yeah,
it?
exactly.
Got your
First of
CD.
all, these new computers do not even have optical drives. Okay,
Yeah.
CD, DVD player, Blu-ray, it just isn't a thing. That's
Invest in yourself.
it's not so. Which and
Bingo.
what I do is I tell, and they'll be like, "Well, can you download it?" And I'm like, "No,
Nah, see, you
because
being
I'm
too
running.
aggressive.
I'm running. First of all, I'm running my Serato right now. You know, if there's a, you know, depending on your way your computer's set up, you know, if I just hop on and I start downloading songs, that might make my Serato crash.
Yeah.
You know, it's not all a given, but it's a possibility.
I'm not going to mega upload.
Yeah, so I'm not.
These are situations where payola exists. So if
Yeah.
you
Well
run me
played.
$100,
Yeah.
I might figure out how to download your song and play
Right.
10 seconds of
This
it.
is the thing, and this is the
You might.
advice
Might.
I've given to so many, you know, cats that want to come up to me in the club. First of all, don't come to me at 1 o'clock when the place is packed
Oh,
already.
man.
You know, don't come to a DJ or anybody who actually has the influence or the wherewithal to get your record played. What you need to do, you get to the club when the club opens, shake hands with the DJ, buy a drink.
I just talked
You know,
about
do
that.
do actual networking. You come up to me at 1 o'clock in the morning. We got a packed dance floor, and
Yeah.
we're running the hits at from 1 till 3. We're running the hits.
Putting on the hits.
Yeah, we're not
on the hits.
We're not even by artists who are known. We're not breaking records at that point.
But can I make a point to that though?
Yeah.
What's up?
It doesn't even matter if the DJ plays your song in a club.
It doesn't.
No, it
Because
doesn't.
nobody's paying
It doesn't
attention.
Nobody
matter.
cares.
It doesn't
Nobody
matter.
cares.
And plus, maybe
But I'm going to take that $100 if
yeah,
you
Yep.
and maybe if you want to see the reaction, but like it's not going to mean anything in the long run.
No, if you want to know what it sounds like in big speakers,
Yeah.
okay, we'll get there early.
But
I was about to, but I was
even
about to
with
say that though.
If you're going to give a DJ your music, say, hey man, could you check this out? You know, my name is so and so. I told this cat. I've given this advice to so many artists. Maybe 2 people have taken me up on it. I said, look, you go on Amazon, you get yourself some flash drives. You make an electronic press kit. Put your picture in there, links to your social media, song with the instrumental, and then you give those to DJs.
Oh man, that's too much work. Nobody want to do that.
I'll
That's
give
too
you
much
one
work.
even better. Flash drives are getting to the point to where people don't even want flash drives anymore. Go get you one of those electronic business cards
Mm.
With a
that,
QR code.
that
on
has a
it.
QR code on it, has a direct link where you can even just touch your phone and all the contacts will pop
NFC.
up. But on top of all of that, you can put links in there too, direct links to all of your music places
Yes,
that
indeed.
people can just download it, go to Spotify and all that stuff, buy a bunch of those, Hand them out to people.
Then you gotta worry
can dig
about
that.
somebody.
But once
putting
again, that you're asking
bug
people to
in
do
your
work
computer.
to benefit
They ain't
themselves.
gonna want to do that.
Well, that's part of the investing in
But
yourself.
it's investing in yourself, and it's you have to do it.
You know, just so if you, but imagine telling that to somebody who's still trying to give out CDs.
I'll be honest, and then we can wrap it up here. But I'll be honest. I like to crowdsource. I like to see people's reactions to records. I'm talking about in the cut, just watching. I like to watch and see if anybody's reacting to a record that I have. So whenever I give stuff to the homies, and if I'm in the building and they run it, I'm looking around the room to see what the reactions are. And I don't know how valuable that is. Maybe that's just me overthinking it, but I like to see people's responses to records, to see, what could, outside of how it sounds and all that. I like to see how they react when it comes on.
For sure.
If it hits.
I'm talking with new songs too, is how it's presented. So you have to damn near sandwich it in between something that kind of balances in that same kind of area that your track is. So like when I sneak it in the applesauce, that's usually what I do. I'll play something first that people are kind of familiar with, then I'll sneak that one in because it's kind of similar.
Yep.
And then followed up with another one. So
yeah, I got to give you your P's on that too. You do a good job with that. Whenever I, send you something to run, you definitely bring that thing in the right way so it can be, appreciated. I guess.
I have another question based on this, and I'm curious what people, and I see some people in the chat too who definitely network and are part of this as well. I'm curious what everybody thinks. How important or how much work would you, or how much emphasis would you think? Let me word this correctly. When I first started in music and I moved to Indianapolis, I didn't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I did what I told many artists to do is I went to everything. I talked to everybody. That's how I ended up meeting Terry. That's how I met Jay Moore. That's how I met a lot of people. I was there. Even though I'm an introvert, I don't like those situations. I put myself in those situations. I feel like the landscapes has changed a lot. How much do you guys really think it's super important for that type of thing to be in person these days? Is there still a lot of value, especially post COVID and all this stuff? Maybe it's just me, but I have a hard time putting a lot of value in that, and it could just be my own not want to do it. We're not. This isn't 10 years ago, so we don't have that same energy. Yeah, well, that's
that we did.
part of it.
You know
That's
what I'm saying? At one point in time. So,
but is it as valuable?
It's still. Maybe not to us because we've pretty much already done those steps.
Right.
So we don't necessarily have to do those steps again. Now, for people coming up, they're still kind of following that same blueprint, so to speak. I think.
Well, I think if it's let's go your route and say it's not valuable.
And the reason why I say this isn't because of me being more established. Or
no.
It's more about just the demographics and how everything is digital now.
No, I know where you're going.
I mean?
What I'm saying is if that's the route if that's the angle that you want to play and say it may not be as valuable, then you have to compensate on the other side online, whether that's more emails, that's more follows, that's more DMs, that's more
communities. Yeah,
communities, the Discord. Y'all join the Discord, by the way. To compensate for that.
Right.
You got to be able to get it somehow.
The
you know what I mean?
Thing that I come across is I don't, again, this might just be a personal thing, but I don't see in-person networking as valuable as I once saw it, but I also don't see an equivalent digitally.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I feel so it's just, I don't know. I was just curious what you guys thought.
I'm not mad at that. I just think you got to compensate for one or the other, figure out a way to compensate for it. That's all. Cause it's still important. Just it might look different, like Terry said, than it did, when we had the energy to move around like that.
Yeah, even the cats now that are producers that are getting these songs off to these artists and rappers and whatnot, and they're making hits on the songs.
Yep.
At some point in time, they have to meet up.
Eventually, you have to meet up, right? But I feel like a lot of that's done virtually now. A lot of it's I
actually don't
messaging people and doing me personally, if you come in my DMs and I don't know you, I don't even respond.
Yeah.
But there's a balance to some people do. You know what I mean? And there is a delicate way to approach people online and stuff like that, and follow them, engage with them, and stuff. And then
to your point on the DM thing, there's certain people. Even when T-Pain was talking about don't hit him up, saying
I remember
certain
that.
things.
Yeah.
because since you're so easily accessible online, I think it makes more sense to try to be present in those situations.
Or be present where that person's present.
Right.
You know, like he has the best way to get in contact with me is literally like if I see you in here or if I see you in one of the places where I make myself available to the public.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there was a long time where I was a blogger and so people were trying to send me music.
Yeah.
But I was also a musician. And so like when you send me music to my personal page, like I don't want to go use the submission form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
overwhelming. That's overwhelming.
It's like
Yeah.
all people's, it's, you know, like, so you got to realize, I think, obviously I got sidetracked because the people are people, but I don't know. I feel like there's a, I think, I don't know.
I think the DMs is in the approach because
In person's definitely king slot. I think so. I just don't feel like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weirdly biased.
I like in person.
I'm ready to step into the meta.
maybe the meta's where it's at.
I'm with Slot on the in person. But as it relates to the DMs, I think it's in the approach and the way that you slide into the quote unquote slide into the DM, because I got a DM from somebody that was so professional in their request. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I got to take you serious. You can't. We talking about.
It depends on the approach and
the
your
record.
research
We're talking about
and all that stuff. Yeah,
I heard the golden word budget.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things where I'm like, oh, let me sit up and you know what I mean. Yeah. But there's other times, to your point,
so it's hard. I think it's harder to recreate that though. Yeah. If you're not in person. Shouts to the comments. I agree with what you guys are saying, because I do feel like in person is definitely easier because you can talk to the person. You can and all that stuff. So
I'm big on energy, man.
Maybe I just don't like.
You just don't
spaces.
like people, yeah.
That's
just don't like people. Yeah, just don't like people. It's cool.
Introverted extrovert.
Maybe I need to pull up my britches a little bit, huh?
Perhaps.
Yeah, it's up to you.
I'll wait till the pandemic's over though.
Yeah,
because it's not over.
No, it's not over.
Some people think it's over, but
it's never over.
Walk in the grocery store, you don't see nobody wearing masks.
Depending on what side of town.
You'll see me.
I got mine on. All right, man. Let's
rubbing my face in the bananas, like
licking the tomatoes.
Hey, if they got some left, because everybody a little short with them containers. Be clear.
True. That's true.
It's all Brandon's fault.
Oh yeah. And the gas prices is whose fault?
Brandon's fault.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
All right, all right, man. Let's go ahead and jump into this next topic. I already have my pick, and it's not anybody that is older. It's somebody that is very young as it relates to, because Lone kind of jumped into this in the post show last week. He started naming a couple artists. I was like, man, hold that, because we might be able to turn that into something. And the conversation was related to most underrated artists. I'm talking about criminally underrated. For me, after seeing this most recent project come out, I think it's Cordee. I don't think he's getting the peas.
You think he's underrated right now?
I do. I don't think he's getting the peas.
I think he's too new to be underrated.
Yeah.
I'm talking about as it relates to just right now.
And this is his first album going by Cordee.
I don't think he
released the YBN moniker.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like that kid ain't getting the peas that he should get. Now maybe I'm fanning out because I like
Club
him.
He just did a Tiny
97.
Desk.
You're getting what you're supposed to get.
But we talked about in our spat online when we was beefing.
Drum smacking, baby.
We talked about
red dot on the computer.
Stop, man.
Sorry.
We talked about in our spat. Numbers came up. I mean, a guy like Cordee, don't y'all think he would move more than 20K?
I mean, this is the age that we're in right now.
This is the age where the thing is.
Young boy moving more than 20K.
Yeah, but
I mean, Young Boy is like the most popular artist
out 2 or 3 albums a year
on YouTube right now too.
He's like I said, and plus, Cordee is basically introducing himself,
reintroducing himself.
I would say, and not reintroducing himself. He's introducing himself.
Okay, maybe I'm early. Okay.
Right now, there are people who's like, oh yeah, that's Naomi Osaka's boyfriend. They don't know him as the artist.
I mean,
his last album was cold.
I think we're just a little too hip hop. Like we've known about him.
Maybe that's what it is.
Okay,
maybe that's what it is. Okay, well,
you got to realize too. Like,
I didn't think about it like that. I didn't think about it like that.
Kind of knowing where to find music and being hip to it a lot sooner than everybody else.
Yeah.
You got to factor that into it.
Is that the gift and the curse kind of?
Definitely is the gift and the curse.
Okay. That's what I fell for then, because I've been following him for a while, and I'm like, man, they should give my boy more peas.
I think Cordee is doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Like I said,
Y'all got me on this one.
Because you know
stand
there are
corrected.
people. There are so many people that really show him love on large platforms.
Okay.
He's going to be just fine. And like I said, in this day and age, what your first week does is not like it was during the SoundScan era.
No, I don't expect him to do
You can
750,000.
yeah, and once again, like, you know, once people are like, oh, who's this guy that the Breakfast Club keeps talking about? Who's this
Right.
guy that, you know, they keep talking about here? Like, we're going to get, like,
This is a great conversation for exposing Cordee.
yeah,
straight
exactly.
up. Like even on his album, he said I'm gonna be doing this for at least 20 years or more.
You know what?
Or until I feel like I'm not.
He's
I'm
not
done
making
rapping.
what you would consider to be moment music.
Y'all have swayed my thought on this. I stand corrected.
But I agree with your initial sentiment.
You
though.
see where I was coming from.
I feel like more people need to know of him, and I think they will.
It's the gift of the curse, like Terry said. Y'all swayed me on that one. I'll eat that one.
And I mean, he's not a radio artist yet.
Yeah,
Right.
All right, so y'all give me one then. Lone, you got one that anybody got one off top?
Yeah, I quickly is Odyssey. I think he's, and the thing is, I don't think that he'll necessarily ever propel to that mainstream.
I don't think he wants it.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I don't
but,
think he
But he's
cares.
an artist that if somebody would be like, who's super talented, super dope, he's a dope producer, dope writer, dope MC, dope songwriter,
Dope
performer,
man.
all these things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like he doesn't put out anything that I don't like. So if you like hip hop music, him.
Mhm.
Okay.
Extremely underrated.
Yeah, give me somebody.
I'm gonna go with who's on his shirt. Fonte.
Wow.
Out of all three of them, Fonte is the most underrated rapper that I know of.
Absolutely.
You know what?
Because everybody gives Fonte peas, but nobody puts Fonte on.
Yeah.
Even though
Yes.
Fonte's already on, but you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Fonte is
Drake.
is way
No, you know,
underrated.
it goes
Absolutely.
beyond Drake. You know, there
The Drake one was
a
bad,
lot,
though,
a
man.
lot of your favorite rappers love Fonte, but
Yeah.
won't put him on. Not put on as far as like, oh, I got to put him on, but like as far as have feature rather.
Drake was gushing though, man. Oh, I grew up on these guys, man. I love Fonte and Little
Is that
Brother.
your,
Oh my
is that
god.
your Drake impression?
Oh my god,
my
man.
God.
It's just
That's
so
not a-
Fonte's so cool.
This I'm talking about when I saw the interview. This is young.
This is my
younger
Drake. Drake sounds like that.
Younger Drake.
Oh my God.
Ninth, man. Oh my god, man. Those beats. Oh my god. And I'm like,
I mean, I
fam,
think Ninth gets his peas though.
I ain't saying he don't. I'm talking about
Ninth, absolutely.
Ninth get
But
his.
when we
but-
talk about rapping,
yeah, Fonte don't get his.
Fonte by a mile.
And I could have
Probably
said
even
Fonte.
more.
I could have said Fonte, but I feel like Odyssey's up there too.
I'm not mad at either one of those. I'm not mad at. I'm just, you know,
I got
I'm still
one more,
upset
but
about
I'll let
that.
Jay talk.
I got one too. Go ahead, Jay Moore. Give me one real quick, and then we can get back around alone.
Joel Ortiz.
I can dig that.
As far
for
as
sure.
like putting rec quality, because like even on the people who are like, you know, when they want to call people backpackers and this, that, and the third, I don't even think they're paying the amount of attention to Joel Ortiz that they should be. He was one of my top projects from 2021.
2021, yeah, he did. Have
Yeah,
a good
he
project.
had a really good project. I mean, like every time he puts something out, it always makes it into my year-end list. So I just think he's making, you know, hip hop. Of course, like I'm 44, old. Yeah, I'm old, y'all. And we'll get to that later. But
yeah.
He greases up his Timbs.
yeah, exactly. But it's
Make
just
Tim shake.
But
Don't
like
get Red August started.
But
man.
like when I listen, you know, he's talking like I remember he had a song called Screens, talking about how, you know, these kids are so addicted to their screens
True.
now, and you know, then he had a song
Anxiety.
about anxiety, you know, about the things
All
that like
about that.
we really don't talk about like as men, you know, kind of like the things that when you know. It was the Good Jeans track that Fonte did
Expensive
on his,
Jeans.
Expensive Jeans, rather.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yep.
You know, things that we should be talking about more than we should be talking about Balenciagas and Range Rovers.
Being fiscally responsible.
You
out
know,
here.
I
like
mean, and
that.
of course the things that some people consider to be corny, but like if you're of a rapper of a certain age, these are the things you should like. If you're still talking about gangbanging
Yeah.
at 44, 45, like really, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
'cause,
don't be walking
You
around.
gotta
With,
holler at Smokey about
don't
that.
be walking around with scorpion contacts on.
you
it.
know.
That
So
ain't
I
it.
mean, and I expect certain things I expect from my young boys, but you know, I want them to eventually live long enough to grow out of that. So I'm glad that's happened for certain rappers to where like they're like, look, instead of encouraging young people to go down the wrong path, be like, look, hey, I can only give you the advice that I'm living.
the chat is on my head
Hey,
about
man, look.
Cordee. Y'all were right. All of y'all are
There's
right.
nothing corny about being responsible.
No,
And you know,
And if you're around people that make you feel weird, for being responsible, they're probably the corny ones.
And there's nothing corny about making it to 44.
At all.
Facts.
Long, you said you have one more.
I mean, the obvious one is Knots as a producer.
Man.
Like Knots is the most slept on producer. He's one of my favorites. He's so
can dig
good,
that.
man.
I don't know if
nobody ever talks about him when it comes to like favorite producers either, or best
Or
producers.
Mr. Porter.
Mr. Denon Porter, definitely, yes, of course.
I
Yeah.
can dig that.
I like Knots. I like Mr. Porter too.
Denon is hilarious too, by the way.
There's
Well, I hate black women, but I still like
you
Rhapsody.
do. Yeah, we confirmed that on Twitter.
I love
Yeah.
black
Definitely hate
women, and I
black
don't really like her that much.
Yeah. We've had those discussions.
We have. Does
Still
Crit,
super talented though.
does Crit count?
No.
See, the thing with Crit,
I like that new single. It's jamming, by the way. That new single, I like it.
the thing
The
with
thing
Crit,
with
and
Crit.
I'm a Crit fan.
Me too. That's why I'm asking.
Crit is kind of holding himself back from taking that next leap. And the reason why I say that is because when 𝐀𝐿 came out,
Yeah.
that push for that album, man, you would have thought that 𝐀𝐿 was about to be the one that sent him to the moon. Because I mean,
It was dope.
They pushed. It was
had-
dope.
Was that the one that had the feature with Ludacris?
No, that's the one that had
That's too early for the hook.
I don't remember.
the intro was so cold.
It
on that
was,
album.
but
Oh, my
it
God.
kind of it lacked something to me personally,
Okay.
and I think after
did
that
me too.
album dropped, he didn't keep on that same upward the upward slope that he had started, because I mean every mixtape that he had was on point and everyone was better than the next.
Right.
But you know
And then when 𝐀𝐿 dropped, it's kind of like he planed out and never kept ascending
But he
up,
did
in my
have his-
personal opinion.
But he did have his he did move towards Brandon Multi more, right? Like he in independent. We talked about
And it
about
may
going
have had
independent.
something to do with him being signed to Def Jam too.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think
yeah.
Def Jam knew how.
They might not have known how to push it.
Yeah.
And I'm still excited about Crit products.
Come on, man.
Don't get me wrong.
Come on.
Like this is not Crit slander, but
Nah.
I'm feeling like he kind of plateaued at the wrong period rather than keep on ascending. But he still has time.
I feel like my thing with Crit is like I've always been a fan of most of what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like him in general. Like I like the music he does. He's got some songs like even on 𝐀𝐿,
It's heat on that album.
there's some like really great like 𝐀𝐿, the song is amazing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but he's
sir.
got like
The album wasn't cohesive though.
He's
to
got
me.
like 3 or 5 really, really good songs on there, but there are a lot of skippable ones on there
Yeah.
for me.
I mean, to me, the double CD had the double CD. I'm sorry, y'all.
CD,
Double
double disc.
streaming product
streaming
had
product.
heat, man. It was
The
but
one
it-
that just came out,
Facts.
his most recent.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it was too heavy. They could have trimmed it. That's all. But there were great records on that. Like Lone, you were talking about his catalog. I know you said might not necessarily like everything. Like if I had to put a percentage on it with Crit, I'm at 90-95% with his material. Now it is.
I'm still he's
some
still
areas
he's
where-
still somebody who when he puts stuff out, I'm like, I wonder what he's gonna do this time.
Yes.
And you know, like I feel like he still has I still don't. I mean, I know what I'm gonna get from him, but I don't know what I'm gonna get.
I don't know if you would say that if you heard that new jam.
I've heard it. I liked it.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like the new
I
one.
don't think that sounds like.
It still
got
sounds,
elements of him,
but
though.
it still sounds like Crit to me.
You think so? 100%?
I mean, one, it is him, but two,
It is him, for the record.
I don't know. I like when I listen to it, I was like, yeah, because to me, like,
I like that mug too, man.
I don't know.
think
The
he
thing
dope.
about Crit is like he's very specific and he's very intentional about his type of
I'm
sound.
so glad you didn't say Pacific. Bless your heart.
But
Why would he say that?
Because people do. Grown folks say that Pacific.
Pacific,
Yeah.
so he's
Music is
very
near the water.
he's very Atlantic about like the type of sound that he makes.
Okay.
Right? Like he's very. I feel like he's still very Mississippi. Is that where he's from?
Yeah. Meridian.
I feel like that. I don't know. Like I feel like he still embodies like that with everything that he does, like his specific type of sound. So maybe that's potentially kind of holding him back a little bit. Maybe I don't know. I don't think so. But
Nah. Yeah. He's
I don't know. I
one of the
don't
most
know.
consistent artists I've ever seen.
I
I
still
don't
like.
really hear
I still
anybody.
like.
I
him. still
don't
like
hear
him.
a lot of people that downplay Crit though.
I don't either.
Like most people, it's almost like you're either a Crit fan or
you're not.
don't, or you're
You
not.
haven't
you know what I'm
discovered
saying?
his
There
music.
isn't in between.
He's one of the few people I bring up all the time that I want to put someone on to. Hey man, make sure you go listen to or go check this out. He's one of those people.
I like Crit.
Yeah.
You know, I look forward. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like jumping out the window, but when he drops stuff, I'm like, cool. I wonder what he's doing this time.
Yeah,
so,
shout out to Crit, man.
It takes a lot for me to even care. So.
Oh, we know. All right, man. Red August. Let's go ahead and
let me ask you a question.
Hey man, let's go ahead and shout out our partners real quick, and we'll be back in the Pacific time.
Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Printfinity is a screen printing shop based in Indianapolis, owned and operated by our own DJ Jay Diff. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member for as little as $3 a month. All details on newoldheads.com.
All right, thank you for that, Red August. Shout out to our partners. We appreciate you as always.
Yep.
Shout out to the chat as well, man. I see my brother Slade's in the building, Chi-Town, by way of Michigan. We appreciate you, brother. Let's go ahead and
somebody whispered currency, and it wasn't Nicole.
Oh, it had to be Nicole.
Nope.
It wasn't Nicole.
Shouts to DJ Corey.
Oh, Corey T. Okay.
Yeah, I can see Currency, but Currency kind of has a cult following.
His Currency's following is bigger than Crit.
Yeah,
way bigger.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Nicole buy everything he put out, so it's
a lot of people buy everything he puts out. Yeah,
he probably got. I ain't gonna put a number on it, but there's a lot of people that cop everything he put out. So
he can sure pick beats. I'll give him that.
We ain't gonna go down that road long, but I feel you.
Nah, he can.
He can pick beats. That's 100. That's 100%.
He can pick producers too. Mm-hmm. That he teams up with to create those,
to do projects.
Those projects. I definitely give him that.
Yeah. So shout out to Currency.
I mean, I'm definitely somebody who would listen to a Currency project because of the beats.
Him and Jermaine Dupri got one coming out. Interesting mix. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm not excited.
I heard an interesting one too.
I knew you was gonna do that.
I heard that Black Milk is going to executive produce.
I heard that.
Cypress Hill's next project.
What? I heard that.
Yes.
That sounds very interesting.
Very interesting.
Oh,
and I know I said on one of the shows in the past that Cypress Hill is one of those groups that I really could never get into.
Yeah.
I'm almost, it kind of piqued my interest to hear what it would sound like if Black Milk produces
that. I'm glad you said that because I saw that news and I was kind of like, I would have never put them together.
Nah. I think that's what makes the possibility of it dope, though, because you know Black Milk gonna slap. We know that. Let's just throw that out there.
Black Milk is also slept on, so there's another one.
I'm here for that, Terry. Yeah. I check that out. Yeah, I check that out. All right, man, let's get into this next topic. I know I'm trying to be on my time. The Atlantic. I saw this. Shout out to Ninth Wonder. This is where I actually saw this to take me to the topic, but. It says it's old music killing new music. It says old songs now represent 70%.
I need to read this.
70% of the U.S. music market. Some graphs that pretty much support that, and then they go on to say old songs now with that 70%. These are the latest numbers from MRC data. That they do analytics, and it says those who make a living from new music, especially that endangered species known as a working musician. To look at these figures with fear and trembling because older music is being played more than newer music.
Nothing but the Thriller. No pun intended.
I see what you did, though. That's wordplay. I see what you did. What do we think about that? Because Ninth Wonder said one of the things that he thinks contributes to it is the fact that he didn't have to go online and see artists now and social media and see them and watch what they put out. There was a deeper connection with the artists back then, like the older music. I don't know if y'all agree with that or not. I'm just paraphrasing what I read from him. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that older music has stood the test of time. A lot of it still sounds good now, but you also have to remember too, we take into consideration the internet and how everything is oversaturated now. Everybody rap. Everybody got a Focusrite. Everybody's got Pro Tools. So now,
I don't.
Yes, you do. Don't do that. You got to Focusrite. There's one right there.
I don't have Pro Tools. Ableton Gang.
Shout out to the Ableton Gang, 100%. But Jay Moore, I'll come to you first. Mm-hmm. What do you think? What's the disconnect? Why is 70% of the market older records that are being played as opposed to the new music? Because we always talk about the microwave generation, how stuff is here and it's gone, comes out and it's gone. Why are some of these joints not sticking around? Based off this article.
Based off this article and the analytics done to
Yes.
back up all. I think it's pretty easy. There's so much new music out, and there's no emotional attachment to it because we don't have the time to get emotionally attached to music because there are artists who will put out 3 or 4 albums a year now because it's hard to reintroduce yourself to the marketplace when things move so quickly. There were times where the difference between what was it, Thriller and Bad was like 4 or 5 years. There's absolutely no way a record company would let an artist who had a hot record and was able to have #1 singles. There's no way they'd let you take a 4 or 5 year break.
Right.
Now because
these cats ain't Mike Jack though.
But
they're not.
This is true. But at the same time,
Kendrick's trying it.
4 or 5 years. But 4 or 5 years
He's doing it
is the difference between. Yeah, but Kendrick is still going to be on a Super Bowl, so it'll be like he doesn't have to reintroduce himself to this marketplace.
I swear, it might be low key a springboard for him.
So I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we get a Kendrick single that Monday morning.
Right.
But when you're talking about,
he's the exception.
He is very much the exception. But if you're just one of these artists that did, the equivalent to 500,000 units in a streaming era, and you're like, I'm going to chill for a couple years. No, you need to get right back in the studio and get after it. I think also when you're talking about older music streaming and selling, like if I see a copy of Thriller in Target, because, if you go to Target, they sell, I don't think they sell any CDs now, but they do sell vinyl.
I doubt it.
I'm going to go ahead and pick up, or I'm going to pick up, that Van Halen or whatever legacy piece of musical media, which is basically
it's art at this point.
When you're talking about picking up vinyl, I'm not picking up this new thing that I know I streamed the day it came out and I have no emotional connection to it. There are people who will buy a copy.
That's the key words right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
There are people who will buy a copy if they see Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling and they say it's on, a new gatefold. They'll buy it just because they remember when this album came out.
They have a connection
and they won't even open. I buy records and don't even open them.
Me too.
And just because
I got to stack them at the crib right now.
Right there. I don't open them either.
Yeah. And so but it's mostly older records. I don't buy new records because I don't have this.
Well, I do, but to support people.
To support, yes.
There's a newer one right behind us right now.
If one of the homies put out Wax, if Slot put out Wax, I'm gonna buy it.
But as somebody who's my age, okay, because I'm old, 44, when I get on Tidal, which is how I listen to and stream my music, if it weren't for this show where we have to talk about certain things and I wasn't trying to be up on the new music that we might have to play in the clubs I work in, I would never listen to anything new. There's no incentive for me to I
would listen to new stuff.
If it's like something like Cordee or if it's a new J. Cole,
they're gonna get you for that.
But I the only reason I know NBA Youngboy is because I ask my staff that's in their 20s. I'll be like, hey, who's hot right now? Who should I know about that I don't know about?
I know Youngboy's status. I couldn't name no record, but I know his status.
I wouldn't. I'm not checking for and there's more. There's a lot more of us with a disposable income to have these streaming services to go ahead and listen to, the music, the hip hop from the 90s or the early 2000s and R&B from the 80s. So there's a lot of people going back to those. And the thing is, there are young people going back to those records because when we were young, you had to go back and buy those CDs, tapes, or records.
I actually think that's dope.
Now these young cats, if they see something in a movie and they're like, oh, what's this Al Green? What's this? My mom was watching the verses between Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isley Brothers, and I liked a couple of those records. And they go on and they listen to that. But older people my age are not going back and listening to younger people's music. Younger people are going back and listening to older music.
Listen to this, man. You'll catch me listening to... Before you catch me listening to something, unless somebody's put me on, if Lone sent me something, so my guy DJing JayZ, if he sends me something, I'll listen to that. But you're more than likely going to hear me listening to I don't know, man. It might be Coltrane. It might be Stevie. It might be Al Green. It might be, depending on the day, Pink Floyd. Those older artists connect to me because the quality has lasted. So I'm going to listen to those. So I might fall into 70%.
But how not to interrupt, but how much does this reflect the fact that we're all like 38-plus-year-old men that have already had our time with all this music?
That goes into it.
You know,
I'm not going.
you know
I'm
what
not.
I mean?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie and say that doesn't. That goes into
I feel like that's probably a significant
that's
part.
part of it.
It is. I can actually reference when I was young and coming up, and I did the same exact thing. I would listen to older music as well as the newer music.
But did you buy
the problem now?
the
Yeah,
older
I did.
music?
Definitely.
Like, you know,
I bought both.
I had, you
I
know,
bought
the
both
music
too.
by that
I can't lie.
that I wind up loving by, you know, the Temptations, the Dramatics, Teddy Pendergrass. It
A
was
lot of that
I
stuff
was,
my parents had.
I had,
already.
yeah, I would
That's how I
get
got put on.
through because I would make tapes of stuff that my parents already had.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't going out into buying it.
But
You know,
Terry, you said you bought both.
I would buy both because I mean that's just what I was into. Like the G-Funk era made me really enjoy Parliament. Funkadelic. So I would actually go out and buy those old albums.
Right.
But I think right now the problem is, well, not necessarily the problem, but the issue that we're running into with the old music versus newer music is people are making music for the moment and that's it. So once this moment passes, that music is no longer
never gets played
serviceable
again.
for anybody else.
Like,
it's just
preaching right
time
now.
for right now.
I don't think it's just that though.
It's not just that, but I'm just saying that's one of the factors in.
For sure.
There's a whole lot of filler or stuff just for the moment. Here's an example that did crazy numbers and is a diamond single is Old Town Road. How many places are you going to go to and hear Old Town Road now versus what you did 2-3 years ago?
Shattered records.
Yeah,
records.
yeah, but
it's
you know
like
what? I haven't heard
the
that. I
highest
haven't heard
selling.
that song in at least 6 to 8 months.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
It's
music for
time,
the
it's
moment.
over.
It's music for the moment, and it
Moment.
stands that test of time.
Right.
Versus artists back in the day were making music because they were in their artist bag. Like this was their lifeblood. I want to make this music.
Yeah.
I want to pour out my soul. Like is there any soul singers other than like a Leon Bridges or
Moonchild.
you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to my
And they're
man.
kind of Joel.
It's like a handful of them.
Shout
Though,
out
you
to
know
my
what I'm
man
saying?
Bubby B. That's a soul
There
singer.
were
He on the way.
people that was pouring their soul out on these albums.
They're out
that
there.
were like they're out there, but you always have to put the but in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're far and few between.
That's it.
Versus when back in the day, everybody was kind of on that same wavelength. And I'm not taking anything away from any of the newer artists because there are a lot of newer artists that are dope as well.
Extremely dope.
And don't fall into that moment music category. But 90% of the popular music is moment music right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've even told my nephew at one point in time that stuff that you dig right now is not going to be the same as the stuff you dig 10, 15 years later. None of this stuff's going to stick to the wall. Like a little bit will, but most of it won't.
Unless you really like the artist.
Right.
Okay.
But you know,
Right.
when I remember it
And,
was
you know-
before night. We like my man DJ Lockstar, shout out to him. He had gotten a new laptop, and you know he's transferring music, and he's like, I have 8 versions of this song that I will never play again.
Yeah.
Clean, dirty, acapella, intro, clean, intro, and it's like. There's so many of those records at one point we couldn't live without in the club as far as what we play. But if you can go back just 2 years and, you know, songs by popular artists, we're like, we would never, ever play that song again.
Yeah.
And it's not because the song is bad, but because there's so much music that comes out, but like it speaks to that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't speak to any other time.
I know
And
you
so
spoke-
like it gets to a point like anybody who's a DJ, go through your Serato and say, oh, I haven't played this record in 4 years, and I know
get rid of a whole lot.
no one will ever request it, and I have no reason to even put it into the
I
mix.
don't want you to lose your train of thought.
I'm
Looks
good.
like you was going to say something.
Yeah, I would just say the filler is more accessible now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. It's really kind of the thing. I mean, it's to what Terry was saying, but kind of the question I was going to pose was pretty much, you know, it's like I'm looking at this graph from this article, which is a great article.
Yes, it is.
Mike or Terry, one of you guys posted it in our Discord. Check it out. But it's super long. But it even says here that more people stream Twitch than I don't know how they broke down the percentages, but than the Grammys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like as an artist in general, like now, this is kind of like a fear piece in a way for musicians, because it's saying, oh, you know,
They use that.
if you make music now, be careful because only old music is popular. I just think it's a way that you have to think. I think it's actually kind of a good place to be in, because you have so many different types of opportunities to get your music in different areas. Historically, when I was coming up making music, it was like, all right, I have to make an album, then I have to find the right person to sign me or something, right?
Yeah.
Because there wasn't like an internet. There wasn't that thing, and it kind of changed. And later I learned about like syncing and, you know, licensing and scoring and doing all that stuff, right? I feel like there's just so many options, and the options are becoming more readily available for musicians to be able to put their music in different avenues that they weren't able to before. Right. And we actually have the ability to have direct connection with our people once we create that base of whatever our people are. Just like Twitch and the new old heads, you know, we can talk to all of our people that like the show or like us, you know, to a degree, right? I'm gonna play his. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. But what I was going to say at the same time, yeah, go ahead, because I forget what I was gonna say.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna play your soundbite every time I have this conversation now, because the way you tied it in and talked about how a lot of this stuff is moment music, I couldn't have said it even better. Like, it's going to fade away at some point. I don't want to say disappear, because, you know, people still play.
Essentially, it does. A lot of it does.
The majority of it might disappear, but
I'm of the belief that,
because I 100% believe that.
I'm of the belief, yeah, of course. But my thing is, it's not that there's more moment music, filler music being made. It's just that is more easily accessible now.
Yeah,
that's in the streaming era.
It's the same amount that was being made in 1994.
No, it is.
It's just that everybody can put all their stuff out, and everybody can push themselves to wherever they need to be.
Yeah, everybody can do it, and there's people out there that aspire to make one hit song, and that's it.
Yep.
They want to make that one hit song so that they can in turn be popular, be known,
and then pivot,
and then do whatever else they need to do.
Get a bag.
Yep.
This is a real good article, though.
Yeah, they go into detail. I'm glad you pulled it up, because they got a couple charts, and it goes a little bit deeper than, you know, I just touched the surface at the top, but very well executed, very well thought out. So shout out to the Atlantic. That and Ninth Wonder, actually, because that's what brought it to my attention.
It's super long, though.
Yeah. It's more, as they say, more meat and potatoes in there. But
it's one of them things where it's not filler. It's not a filler article.
It actually has layer. We could do a whole show on this article.
Show.
To be honest with you.
That's facts. All right, man. We got about Red August is holding up the sign.
7 minutes. We got enough time to address this, maybe.
All right, so I want to jump into this one real quick. JayZ, Meek, Kelly Rowland, Killer Mike are among the stars named that are starting to argue for change in New York law that prevents rap lyrics from being used as evidence in criminal trials. Like, they're really going hard about this and trying to get it changed. Fat Joe supporting the Yo Gotti, Robin Thicke, they've all signed a letter urging lawmakers in New York to back the proposed change and uphold freedom of expression. Now, there are a couple ways you can look at this. I'd love to see what you gentlemen think. Jay Diff, I'll come to you first. Is this a good thing in your opinion or a bad thing?
That they're supporting not being able to use lyrics as criminal evidence? Well, I'm put it to you like this, because some people are dumb enough to actually put exactly what they're doing in their lyrics.
I agree.
Now, if you're that particular individual and you really on some foul stuff, then yeah, they should probably use that as criminal evidence. But if you're a rap artist that you're painting stories, or it's kind of like somebody that's writing a book. You can't penalize Stephen King for writing a horror novel,
right?
And whatever happened you can't penalize him for that. So some of this music is just that. It's somebody speaking from somebody else's point of view or telling a story along with whatever they can relate to or seeing coming up or whatnot. But if you're literally pointing out certain things and stuff that has been done and you're the culprit and you're that stupid, then it should be used against you.
No,
was that?
I couldn't hear you long. Phone.
Shut up.
Go ahead, Jay Moore. I'm sorry.
I think Jay Diff hit right on the head, especially in the first part of his statement, because there are people who are dumb enough to literally map out what they're doing.
Trying to keep it real.
Yeah, exactly. In an effort to keep it real goes
Would you say long goes wrong?
Yeah. But,
goofies.
but if you're trying to, basically create a, you're trying to say, okay, this is this person's character based on the music they make.
Right.
The same. I wouldn't, just because Martin Scorsese does Goodfellas and Casino, and they try to make him a wit or say, oh well, you were doing this. Like, no, he's a storyteller.
Yeah, but that's different.
But at the same time, Martin Scorsese, he doesn't try to live that when the camera turns off.
Right.
Okay. And see, this is where
It's
a lot of you rappers are out here trying to live, the same kind of foolishness that you write about, and you're saying, oh, it's just art, but your art is imitating your life, and you wonder why you can't stay out of jail.
Just go to Instagram. You'll see it.
Look, you got to understand one of the best law enforcement tools out here is Instagram.
Media.
Yeah.
Like you understand, there are police, that's all they do is sit and look at people's Instagram.
They tell it on themselves daily.
I know that a lot of you feel like cannabis should be decriminalized, but if you live in a state where it is not decriminalized, you are basically putting felonies and misdemeanors on social record. So stop that.
Yes, I would say stop it. And that's kind of a sore issue for me, just because I personally know somebody going through some stuff that happened in a state where it was legal. Mm-hmm. So it really doesn't even matter when it comes down to that. It matters who you are, what you look like, and what you did.
True.
Other than that,
but at the same time, when we know that's how the game is, you have to be more careful.
Yeah,
you do.
It's kind of hard to be careful with that, though, when they make Netflix shows that are comedies about moving cannabis, and then you're doing
parental figures, right?
But you know what?
And then it goes down a whole rabbit
those things
hole.
do not apply to certain people.
Yeah. It's just a sore subject for me.
Oh, no. I understand.
No, you
I better go through some sore subjects this weekend.
Yeah. you said, is it, as it relates to, we talked about the directors, and did you want to add anything to that?
I don't feel like this is a black and white issue.
Okay.
That's the only thing. Like I understand why certain artists would, and I'm not necessarily, I understand why certain artists would be targeted. I get it. Like, I understand. And I condone it.
Mellie is a great example.
I just understand.
Man.
Mellie is
and so like I don't think that in general, if you're going to go and just like be like, oh, well, this guy said this and this and this, and you're basing it all off of a song, as opposed to you already have something you're working on.
Yeah.
And this
or
is
you're riding around with dead bodies in your trunk.
Yeah, that don't help.
And then they literally find it. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh man, it was art, man. I picked the body up and we was just doing.
I wasn't talking about that body. I was talking about the hypothetical.
Oh, this one I'm driving around with. That's just for art.
Yeah,
we was just doing it for art.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a cop advocate by any means necessary. And
I mean, sense has to be common.
Sense has to be common.
But at the same time, like, I don't know.
There's gray area.
To me, it's really gray. But I feel like it can be abused.
It definitely can be abused.
And I think that's the part that they're probably advocating for, and they're trying to get taken care of. And
I think back
from
in
that
the day,
extent, I can get it.
Mac Dre actually went to jail, I believe, for some lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, because it was basically a song detailing a actual bank robbery that happened, and I was like, and they were like, the details of this song are really close to what happened.
Like, ask Boosie about it.
Like how mad can you? Got to be mad at yourself for some stuff like that.
Like, don't throw rocks at the police station, y'all.
And then write a song about
it. And then be like, I can't believe they're going to use this against me. I was
Just
like,
leave the breadcrumbs right there.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that, man. You got to be smarter than that.
You got to be smarter.
Be smart, man. At the end of the day,
but
I see where they going.
But that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's gray.
I see where they going, but I'm with Lone on this one. There's a lot of gray area, a lot of rabbit holes you can go.
There's a right and a wrong.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, man. Red August is
we good? All right.
Red August says we're good. All right.
I was like, wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Wrap it up, B.
Oh, sorry.
That's what it looked like, but okay.
Yeah.
Do a circle. Do
Chill,
a circle.
man.
Let's go around in a circle.
Yeah, well, okay.
Throw it up in a circle.
Throw it up in a circle.
Well,
we gotta keep
Project-
it clean.
That was the BET
That's the
edited version.
throw it up in a circle.
Have you
That's a
ever
really
seen,
bad edit, though.
have you ever seen?
Is it really that edit?
What's the?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I know
What
you're
is
talking
that
about.
movie?
Belly.
Spike Lee joint.
There could be many.
There's so whenever the
The
beats
summertime one. Do the right
do
thing.
the right thing.
Yeah.
Mickey Fickies.
D Mickey Ficky D. Like when Radio Raheem was going to get his batteries.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The D batteries were Mickey
Gotcha.
Ficky batteries.
Okay, for the Mickey Ficky mix.
Yep. For those that remember the Mickey Ficky mix.
Yeah.
No.
You had to be outside to know the Mickey Figgy mix.
Just
I
saying.
don't know.
D batteries.
Or
See?
even Friday on BET.
Stop
Was a little
Asian hate.
different. It even had different scenes.
Mother you.
Good
It-
job.
It would be a little different.
Yeah.
It ain't post show yet.
Mother lover you. That's what he said.
Yeah.
All right, you
All
know, and shout out to all my Nicki Minaj fans. We appreciate you so much.
We
Thank
sure
you.
do.
Thank you so much for driving our traffic up. And the thing is, even though we're doing it for clout, you're only the third highest viewed clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got a message I showed Terry. Somebody asked if we had talked about them. So maybe perhaps on the post show, maybe not.
Yeah,
But,
go to my social media and see how delusional and weird these people are. If anything, I feel sorry for Nicki
need
Minaj
to find
because
something else
these
to
are
do.
your fans and they're not helping you.
Find something else to do.
Yeah.
It's funny how and I hate to say she's not hip hop, but hip hop heads were mad about anything that was said.
We've come after Eminem, Nas,
Kanye.
and this is
LL Cool J.
Megan Thee Stallion. We've
But not
said
really.
We've said
Not really.
we've told Megan Thee Stallion.
But I mean, if we put it in the
we
context
said
they're taking it, we
said Cardi B didn't deserve her Grammy.
She didn't.
But
Yeah.
she didn't.
And you know what?
No.
I mean, she's still successful.
Yeah, but you know what? Nobody in Cardi B's camp told me to kill myself this weekend.
Oh, man.
We have not poked the beehive, and I don't think we will.
Yeah, we're going to stay away
on
from them, too.
Beyonce's internet, we're gonna stay away from that.
Well, people who listen
She
to
all right.
Beyonce have lives.
Yeah.
That's the difference, I guess.
Yeah, so I think that's a big difference.
On that note,
All right, man. We appreciate the support as always. Shout out to the chat. We want y'all to stick around for the post show. As always, all the education you need this year is located at newoldheads.com. You'll find everything you need. We appreciate the support. We'll see y'all next week.
goodbye.